Hey folks, welcome back to Wingman Nation. I am the RV Wingman, and today's video is going to be a little bit shorter than normal, but I've got two stories that are sort of connected, and hopefully you'll have some kind of a takeaway from them. I want to say that my wife, the first story is my wife is in the hospital. She's been in the hospital for almost a week. She's going to be okay. Long story short, she got a very bad infection. Her stomach started hurting her, and within 2 hours, almost a week ago, we were in the emergency room, and they said it's sepsis, and I guess it's a big-time bad infection. She's been on IVs and blah, 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 blah. But again, she's going to be okay. Thoughts, prayers, all that kind of stuff are greatly appreciated. But so yesterday, I'm in the hospital room with her, checking on her, and this nurse comes in, and she said, she's a nurse in training. She isn't an official RN yet. And she said, would you mind if by participating in a survey? So what are you talking about? She says, well, I have to do this for school, and I need to pretend that you are just a new patient in the hospital. So could I just ask you a bunch of questions down this form, because I have to turn it in to my professor? She said, no problem. So I said, well, when you get through asking those questions, can I ask you a question? She's like, sure. And so she asked this question, and one after the other, And I said, are you done yet? No, she still had more. And I'm getting ready to pull something up here. And so my wife is answering these questions one after the other, and I'm thinking, that has nothing to do with anything. Why in the world are they asking these questions? And I've been to the hospital before too, and I'm thinking, they ask all these questions that have nothing to do with why you're there. But we just go ahead and answer them. It's a person of authority, and we answer the question. And so now the lady's through. It's very nice. I said, ma'am, may I ask you something? She said, okay. I said, what questions do we have the rights not to answer? Do we have to answer these things? And she said, you don't have to answer any of them, truthfully. I said, none of them? She said, well, pretty much none of them. I said, well, why don't you tell us that going in? And I knew the answer. And she said, because if we tell you that, then you'll fight back on everything. And I'm thinking, it's true. We just comply. A person in authority. Well, can you tell me this? And here's an example of some of the questions that the hospital asked. I pulled them up. And you do not have to answer these if you don't want to. Now, they like you to, and oftentimes it will help in the care that you're going to get in the hospital. You don't want to piss off a nurse or a doctor, but you do not have to answer these questions. Your marital status, your religious affiliation, your sexual orientation or your gender identity, your income level, your immigration or citizenship status, social media information, family planning or pregnancy intentions. You do not have to answer these, but what do people do? Well, they answer them. Why? Because an authority figure, they would not ask you something if they didn't need to, about your living situation. This girl asked my wife, she said, that's my husband. She says, well, do you live together? Oh, no, I live in an apartment on the other side of town. That's why I'm going, you don't have to answer these questions. Your occupation, your employer information, alcohol, drug, or tobacco use, if not relevant to your current treatment. They ask about, do you need financial aid? All these different things. And so, she was nice and I was nice, but I'm thinking, I'm going to do a monologue on this because most people just vomit up the information and just serve it on a silver platter for the doctor or for the police officer or for the game warden or for the income tax person. They just puke it out. Sorry to be so blunt, but it's the truth. Much of this is private information. We don't have to give it up. I'm going to give you another example. We're in the, and here's why. When you buy a car and you go into the finance, you buy an RV, go to the finance department, you buy anything, big ticket item, they're going to lead you down this path where you certainly want to be protected in the event you have a warranty issue. Oh, yes. I mean, who would say no to that? You want those tires protected and that, your paint protection, blah, 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 blah. And you sign yes, 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 yes. And you don't have to do that. So we're in Seattle years ago. We flew into Las Vegas, and my wife had her carry-on bag. And we got from Las Vegas, we're going to check through TSA and go to Seattle. And from Seattle, we fly to Alaska. So the bag checks in perfectly in Las Vegas. Boom, everything's good. Now we get to Seattle, have to change planes, go through TSA in Seattle, and her bag goes through. Ma'am, you need to step aside. She's like, I didn't do anything. It's the same bag I brought and went through TSA in Las Vegas. Ma'am, you need to step aside. This great big, I won't even say describe it because I'll show how ugly I am, but it's the truth. It was a big person that was practicing, I'm the boss and you're not. And this woman, she frisked my wife and made my wife cry, literally cry, checking all feeling and this and that. And I finally had about enough of it. And I walked over and the lady says, sir, you need to sit down. I said, I'm not going to sit down. And her boss came over, a guy with multiple stripes on, and he said, sir, you need to go sit down. As I said, is that a request or a demand? He looked at me and said, seriously, are you requesting that I go sit down? Or are you demanding that I sit down? Well, it's a request. I said, request denied. And so I sat there and I asked why. She was fondling and feeling my wife up and down. And because I wouldn't leave. And I said, you can do that. I said, do you enjoy doing that? I know that you're hating. If you don't like me, you're probably going to like me even less right now. But I thought these people in positions of authority sometimes overstep their damn limits, overstep the boundaries. And most people just deal with it. And I, for one, have had enough of that. I say, ask questions. Time out, doctor. Time out. Do I have to provide this information? Time out, TSA. I'm not trying to get thrown in jail. I'm not trying to be a tough guy. But are you requesting that I do something? Are you demanding? Because I must do it or I will get thrown in jail. They don't want to tell you. You know why? You know why? Why do you think they don't want to tell you? Because you might become a problem. And if you just do bah, and you just give them what everybody else gives them, now they know it. All of it. They know your job. They know your marital status. They know your sexual orientation. And do you think they are the only ones that know that? I don't either. That goes into the computer and into the cloud somewhere for everybody to know. I think that we need to slow down on giving our personal information. I cannot even believe what some people do on Facebook. I'm out of town. We're going to Las Vegas for the next 5 days. And if I were a burglar, I'd go, I wonder if that'd be a good time to go break into that person's home. Maybe burglars don't think that way. Why do people just, as I say, puke out such personal information? Because other people do it? I'm hopeful that I'm getting through to some people going, you know what, I need to stop just giving up that information. Well, it's out there anyway. Yeah, it's probably out there anyway. My dad would be 93 years old right now, and he died 3 years ago. He never did have an email address, didn't want one. He valued his privacy, and I thought, as a younger man, I thought, man, he is just not with it. Why is he, everybody's getting email and everybody's doing this stuff. And he said, not me, not me. I ain't doing it. And now in a certain way, I kind of wish that I would have stayed off the grid because I think that everybody knows everything about everyone. How did I get off on this tangent? My point was that much of the information that you have been so willingly giving up, private information, was not required, is not required. And I suggest that you respectfully ask people when they're trying to sell you something, do I have to have this? When you rent a car and they give you an option, would you like the standard insurance coverage on your rent car or the premium? Well, I don't want either one. Am I required to have either one? Oh, no, sir. Well, then I don't want either one, but they don't tell you that. They want your money. The doctors want your information. It's yours. It's your money. It's your information. And if you don't value it, spew it out to everybody. This is sort of what I think I will be doing in RV Wingman Boot Camp, is I'll be telling you some much more blunt stuff than this, but things that I think people need to know that they don't even consider. That monocular thing that I talked about yesterday, I think, on the video. You know, we see things through these narrow, the narrow vision, but we don't know it. It's just what we see. Got to throw the damn thing down and look around. Use our brain. We're here for a short time. Let's help each other. Let's not exploit every single opportunity. I saw, Tom Brady just played, not played, he just did his second week of commenting. Oh, he's terrible. He's just awful. You want to try doing it? Why don't you try being a sportscaster? How about try being a quarterback? He's been doing it 2 weeks. Let me tell you something. Tom Brady may not ever be the best sportscaster, broadcaster, but I'll guarantee he's going to improve. He's the kind of person that is fueled by somebody saying, you'll never make it. That's the way he got in the NFL to be the greatest player of all time, greatest quarterback that ever lived. Who? Tom Brady? When did he get drafted? You may hate him, but he worked his ass off to become what he did because he didn't listen to other people. He said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to learn. I'm going to be the best I can possibly be. Wow, did I go all over today. Well, that's what happens around this virtual campfire. I hope that you are doing well. I know the weather is changing around the country. Things are getting cooler. I hope you have some fall weather camping trips planned. I'd like to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Tell me where you're watching today's video from and if any of this made any sense. And if it didn't, well, I guess that's okay too. Thanks for spending time with me. I'm Alan Warren, the RV Wingman, reminding you to be safe, have fun, play nice, and don't leave your good manners at home. Bye-bye, everybody.